I recall, maybe one of them had it on. This is, Quinn, I think I'm gonna get these back for you. Get those. You good? We on?
We are right on, ready.
The, results are, number one is Hayes, she got 10, a low score 10 points. Number two is Peck, 11 points. And the rankings for Hayes, 1, 2, 3, 4 ones and 3 twos. For Peck, 1, 2, 3 ones and 4 twos.
What were you, did you repeat that last? Just repeat
For Peck received 3 ones and 4 twos. Hayes received 3 twos and 4 ones.
So for my simple brain, the popularity contest kind of way to say it would be that 4 people like Hayes and 3 people like Peck.
Might be better, but I don't see any dislikes in here.
Yeah.
I like them better.
Like more. Let me make just an observation. Just remember whoever is selected, they will have the authority / power to hire and fire everybody except themselves. And we can't do anything about it. So, thinking about how much we value our staff and how we have also how competent they are and how much we rely and trust them, we are selecting a person that will be in charge of them and that will have authority over them that we do not have, and so there's a high level of responsibility and trust we have in making this decision for that reason.
If there is an issue, it'll be back to us, and we will take action. We're not gonna jeopardize staff on this. They are what makes this city what it is. There is some evil, but I think we hire and fire, and if we have an issue, we will address it.
Be assured I will.
So, I guess I'm just having trouble with what you just said, and, and pardon me for that, is there an implication in what you just said?
I thought about that while we're waiting for the second vote to come in. We don't have the control over telling them what to do in terms of staff, and so we need to hire one of the best management experience of managing staff possible, of actually having a man. And Ms. Hayes managed 3 during the year and 8 during the financial budget period, and that's her experience in managing the staff. We have, as I mentioned before, how many employees do we have? Two plus 200 people. And that's a responsibility that will involve significant level of management trust in the staffs that they are managing and reliance upon them. And so judge when you make this motion, which one of those two would have the most depth of experience in that regard. So it just came up while I'm sitting here waiting for the second vote to come in.
That's a valid point, and just to add some of Mr. Crayon being the school superintendent, and when we're in a school district, and you have a small school district, you have a large school district, okay? job's the same. The only difference between the two is the number of positions in the budget. And the job's the same. And, so, I don't know, it's a tough call, right? Again, we have a tough decision, we have to put people, I don't think if a person's in the job, they're not gonna hesitate to do what they need to do to make sure the job works, and they're gonna work with people and do the job that has to be done, and make sure that the people are properly trained to do the job, so, I don't see that as any kind of an issue into the current world, and you work with 100 people, or you're going to work with 8 people, but you're still responsible. You're in the area where you're responsible. You have these responsibilities to manage your career and develop your techniques and where you're at on account of what you were from the beginning.
Let me follow up with it, if I can, with the school board example. It's a good example. It's a major issue, tens of thousands of teachers and hundreds and hundreds of employees. And just to recall some history, if I can bore you with that, in Bismarck. In Bismarck, at least the school board experience, for those that are here would appreciate this. We had an opening in the superintendent that runs the school system from a management standpoint. And we had hundreds of applicants nationwide coming in. And one internal that was a deputy or one of the assistant superintendents. Everybody's familiar with that. And he was one of the applicants, very highly qualified. And the tendency was to want to promote from within because he had that experience. And even in that case, the 5-member school board decided to hire somebody from California that had time in the saddle. And the reason, and of course, he disappointed me, wanted to look up, because everybody in the system lobbied the board to hire somebody with the greatest management experience possible, and that was somebody who managed a significant system in another state. I don't say that was important. I could have voted for the promote from within. I believe in that. I would have done that. But it just, even systems like that, the largest in the state, chose somebody from outside rather than inside. And it's a little different because she's not inside here. But I just wanted to add that example from the school board standpoint.
I guess, to be fair, when I look at the paperwork, and I realized that it was a short-term gig, but it was a start, and that it said that, as the acting city manager in Oviedo, she did have oversight of 290 full-time people. So it is not that, just for the record, she has had experience in managing, a couple of hundred people. So I'm just 2 weeks. I'm saying that it's experience. So I really get the sense from this woman that she will have no issues in expanding the scope of her managerial pool. So this was, I think it was longer than 2 weeks, but we don't have to, argue over a number of days. That's, she turned this in May 30th, and she said since April, 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, 4 weeks, either one.
Which is where we made the selection.
Mr. Marco, please control yourself.
What do we do? It's a selection. If it's a selection, what's the process? You will review number 2, back up in case number 1 falls through, and you'll talk to number 1 to see if the timeline is come back to us on Tuesday with you.
Yes, sir. It would be my advice to leave 2 elected candidates, but select the one that you want to be in. And I would envision trying the second one, not to get up on it until
I think Tuesday we should do
I'm on
that.
vacation.
That's right.
We're voting now. everybody again. And, I'm gonna go back and I'll take it up to.
No, I agree with that. I totally agree. But you're saying, after we vote and we have a selection, which
So you still have the rankings, we'll have, so you have the A's and so on. So take a look that way, then you're gonna have, it's one person, and I we were just reading that somewhere, where they just moved up, moving up, and, somebody for whatever reason refuses, or something happens, then you just go to the next person, or just compliment with that next person. And, I would just, I guess for the sake of whatever, if the first person, for some reason, has to fall out, go to the second person, and if that second person falls out, then I would personally say, stop and let's do it, at that point. But we don't want to go all the way down on the list either. I think it's anything really far. But I think that would be a good move, to make sure we have a second in here, makes sense to me. So, are you ready for somebody to make a comment?
We need a motion.
Please make a motion and a second. Everyone?
I'm not going to do it.
I move we, offer the position of city manager to Robin Hayes.
Second. And we'll go on the discussion, and can we have a roll call? Hold on. I think, yeah.
It's a public issue.
Okay, we'll take right here, right there. Sorry about that, the public invited to comment on this. Mr. Marco, your demeanor is, please. Thanks.
Jim already called 25. I'm watching what you've been saying, and if you're here for every single council meeting, and I've listened to everything that you say. I listened to Mr. Roulette say that we wanted to be with that. Mike, back. Sorry, don't know how to turn the mic on yet.
Just
I've listened to Mr. Roulette say that he wanted to back Mr. Peck when it first started. Now I've heard it change again. You do make some very good points, every single one of you. One of the most important points, I think, Ms. Wilson made. That this individual has the ability to come in here and change the structure of everything at once. They can hire and they can fire. If they do that, and they send it back, and I'll use a couple of examples. Let's say, for instance, you want to take Mr. Peters and decide to fire him. You have lost a huge asset. If you want to take and go after a city clerk, you've lost another huge asset. Each one of these things can be done by her or him. And if that's the case, then we're going to have to go back and fight this all over again. I think you need to consider it, or consider it hard before you vote. I do believe it's already kind of decided, but I'm hoping you understand. Thank you. I'm hoping you understand the implications of your vote.
Can I ask a question? As to what would give anyone the impression that the person would be wanting to fire anybody or rehire? I mean, I guess I don't understand your concern with respect to the two top candidates here.
I'm sure we should debate.
It's, to answer your question, it's not any one individual, it's the ability of that individual to go absolutely. And if that's the case, then you want to go with the person that has the most, exposure. So you want somebody who's been able to manage a large group of people, somebody who's done this before, not somebody who has such a small 8-person interest.
I guess I thank you for your comments. I understand that. I guess I just have trouble equating managing a smaller group with as opposed to a larger group with the ability to hire and fire. I mean, I just don't see why that would give someone less seriousness of thought towards the process. That's all. But thank you, I appreciate your input. I do.
Susie Waddell, 31 North Grandview. The question is, who's in the city is afraid to get fired? That's what we have to answer, okay? That's what you should ask. Who's afraid to be fired? These people who got and who's afraid to be fired? You know? If you do your job, you won't be fired. If you don't do your job, you will be fired probably in the future. That's it.
We're not here to fire, we're here to hire.
That's it.
Josh, I'm 770 Smith Avenue. I had the privilege last night to walk with Mr. Peck. We went over to the pub for the second anniversary. We had a good discussion on the way over there, and I found him to be very amicable, very interested in the town. I also had the chance to talk to Robin, and I must say both of them were my top picks just from reading and following the news articles. And I did read up where Mr. Peck had his run-ins with firing people up in Bald Island. And so I have no doubt that he's competent. I reserved any of my judgment until I saw the interviews, and I did miss Mr. Peck's, but I spent probably more than a half hour with him last night. What I did enjoy about Robin's interview is she was very enthusiastic. I too don't believe that because there's no experience in being a city manager that she's not competent. You have to start somewhere to move up the ladder. I'm experiencing with an event coordinator right now that's taking on a festival of 100,000 people, and he's never done it before, but he was requested because his background was so phenomenal they thought he could handle it. So he's actually going to be my boss. I prefer Mrs. Hayes' enthusiasm in the long run because I think she has something to prove. I don't think she's coming in here saying, I need to run this. I think she's coming in here saying, let me see what's available and how I can improve it because this is good for me as well. So I'm in disagreement with those that think because of her credentials that she could not handle the job. And however, I do say Mr. Peck is equally as qualified, but at this point, because of the city and the demographics and where the town is going and the planning, on paper, she actually has a better background in planning and doing Vito and Winter Garden than I saw in Mr. Peck's qualifications. Thank you. Anyone else wish to address? And back to council for other comments.
Not taking anything from either one of these candidates, they're both very qualified. Mr. Peck is currently employed with the city of Bald Head Island, North Carolina, population 158. Ms. Hayes is currently employed with the city of Oviedo, population 38,000. There's a lot of growth going on in Oviedo, and she really came across very well, talented and experienced in dealing with that growth. That's why I was leaning towards her versus Mr. Peck. Again, it's very tough, but dealing with the apples to apples again, I think Ms. Hayes has more of the qualifications for the growth of what we are going to be feeling here pretty soon versus, Mr. Peck, where he's working at this time.
Mr. Slayton?
I'm going to support the motion, second to it. I understand the risk of a hire. And I think, just think about that. There's a risk in a hire. And we're all going to look for reasons, talk about it. I feel that her demeanor and her interaction with me was one that was professional. I don't intend to be on council forever. And I feel that if I were just sitting in my living room, that I felt comfortable that she was professional, that she could run the city. I expect her to do the right thing, and if she thinks as appropriate that I'm a knucklehead and she needs to tell me that, I felt that she was a professional and would, and when I remembered that I voted to hire her, that there was some quid pro quo or anything. I just thought that she's a good professional, and it's in my heart, or my brain, or whichever part that I'm, running my whole thought process.
Mrs. Morgan, could you please leave the room? I'm serious. I can't stand that laughing you're doing over here. I wish you'd leave the room until we finish our vote.
Point of order. I understand what you're saying. I don't think we have the authority. It's not uproarious. I don't think we have the
I realize
authority.
it might not be uproarious, but it's very distracting.
Anyway, so I'll just say, I understand it. It's a tough decision. I'm comfortable with my decision to hire someone with Robin's qualifications, and that's, I'm happy with that. I was not a part of the selection before. I was on the 3 side. I still believe in that. I always will believe that that was the right thing up until this vote. I intend to vote in favor of the motion just because it's important for the city and important for our new manager to have support and to have as much of a concerted vote to show the unanimity we have, or the close to unanimity we have, to make her feel welcome. If that's the foregone conclusion, which I know and suspect it is, then she should have that, and for the sake of the city. I think to start the city managing with disgruntled or competitive council is not healthy for the council, it's not healthy for her, it's not healthy for the city.
Any other comments from council?
I agree. I think we have 2 excellent candidates here, and even though I had Mr. Peck rated slightly higher, I'm going to support the motion because I trust the process.
Mr. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Crayon,
Yes.
Ms. Rich,
No.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Slavy,
Yes.
Ms. Tillett,
Yes.
Mr. Jerome.
Yes. Thank you. Before we adjourn, just want to again thank everybody for participation. Mr. Saban, thank you for everything. And we will, I'm going to leave it up to you at this point to contact the contacts you need to make as quickly as possible. Like you said, you probably already know, as of right now, you know what's going on. But let you do that, and then anything else that we need to direct Mr. Saban to do, or are we good to go?
Relative to Ms. Hayes, I assume you want me to find out from her what she would like to see the folks address in terms of an agreement.
Yes.
And I will get that, I'll do so, get that information, and I will be back to me.
And I'd like to know, for the most part, we had an issue last time with people contacting the manager.
Oh, didn't that happen before the interviews?
I still would like to know, if we could keep up.
Yeah, as far as I know, that has not happened this time.
It was really bad.
Has anybody contacted any one of the applicants in advance of yesterday?
Well, anybody know? I asked candidates to tell me about that, and it happened, and I didn't hear anything.
Well, mine was a yes or a yes, and mine was it was a no, but a
They didn't
yes.
get it yet?
Huh? Say that again?
There was contacts made?
I was trying to find out if, for the budget drill, how much money other cities had provided to their chambers of commerce. And so I called the city of Oviedo, and it's one of them, which I talked about on Thursday night, and they put me through to Robin's office, and she answered the question. I said how much, and she answered the question, and that was it. We did not discuss. So in the period of, full disclosure, I made a phone call to the city of Oviedo. The phone call got routed to her office, and she answered the phone. I asked a question on a totally thing and said, thank you very much.
Well, I think the issue last time was the media would contact the candidates who were asking them to respond to questions, and the responses came into the press before the council knew that.
There's a lot of outside influence.
Mr. Mayor, I've got a couple points I would like to make around that is, she still works for the city of Oviedo. Despite all her enthusiasm, I think we have a respectful thing for Oviedo that they need her for whatever period of time, and, she should work for them only, not for us anyway. So that we don't start giving her ideas of the 5 things or whatever, until she works for us, is my personal, what I'm going to do. I'll leave her alone. And then additionally, I don't know if it's in order, but just to remind every one of our charter that our mayor is our only spokesperson. I would appreciate that we speak in unity, and because our charter doesn't really make it difficult, he's the only one that should be addressing the press about what comes out of this, so that we come with a unified approach going forward. Would be my view on how we should do things. And Megan's out there. Megan and I will spend a few days together.
I agree that no one council member can speak for this council. Except for the mayor, appropriate council issues, that's the mayor's spokesman, I agree with that. But no one, I don't think that we can prevent any one of us from talking to the media. I don't intend to, but I don't think that you can stop that, because that's not a council issue, that's a personal issue. First Amendment and that.
Right, I don't know.
Yeah, but in terms of people in council, any individual member should not be doing that. My second comment, council members, is I too want to add my voice to thank Mr. Slayton for his work. You're welcome, folks. I didn't mean to take any voice from the.
And the thanks to the, I'm sorry, the public also.
And I want to thank you, Bob, very much for the time you took. It was extra work for you, above and beyond, and that's a quality of respect.
Well, I appreciate that, and I want to thank you, because it has been a pleasure, and certainly there was more effort than I originally anticipated, but it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, and again, I'll just repeat the thank yous again, and I appreciate every one of staff and everybody, what they've done to respond to the citizens, and rest assured that we're going to make sure that the city does good, and staff also, everything's going to work good. You got the council's there for you all, so don't worry about it. And with that, kind of motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much.